Radio Loma Linda, where no listener is ever left behind.
All right. Here we are again, back at the Cool Veteran Hour. Remember, we changed the name to the Cool Veteran Hour from the Cool Veteran Show. My name is Charles Whitehead. I'm your host for today, and along with my co-host, Elizabeth Yao. She'll be here in about 10 minutes. We're over here just being here in Southern California. We're getting a lot of rain, so we're, what they used to say, the saying is it never rains in Southern California. Well, it's raining here now. Anyway, what was that? Oh, give me 1 second here. Okay. Yeah. So last time I talked from the show, I was actually in the hospital, and things worked out well for me. I'm still under some small treatment. I don't mind telling people this, but this is who I am. I'm a veteran, U.S. Army Reserve vet. I'm a musician. I have a band called Per Se, and basically what this show is about veterans, people with disabilities. If you don't know that, I'm a paraplegic for the last 38 years, and so I'm a big promoter of veterans, people with disabilities, music, and musicians. And there are special events that I go to. And there are a lot of times when I'm on the show and I'm on a location. Maybe it's at the aquarium. I've been to the American Heart Walk Association. Been to the VA wheelchair games at different places. So, but the idea of this show is to make sure that you, the fans, and you, the people, know that we're talking about life. And, things that happen with life. We're not about politics or anything like that. This is more or less trying to find resources for our veterans and business information for people who are interested in being a business person, veteran or not. And we're trying to advocate and help anyone with a disability, because you just don't know. It's just not like if you see someone standing and walking, you think they're normal, but you don't know if they have a disability, like they could have, blindness in one eye, or so all disabilities aren't obvious. And then, of course, we just passed Veterans Day. Well, I'm gonna wait till Elizabeth comes on to talk about that. But we did just pass Veterans Day. And we'll talk a little bit more about it because I want her to get in on the conversation. But ultimately, this is Charles Whitehead, and I am a creator of music. I'm a songwriter, and the music that you hear starting the intro and the outro is a song that I wrote called Cool. So this is hence the name Cool is the name that promotes the show. And then I'm going to get ready to release that soon. And the veteran part is the Cool Veteran Hour, being a veteran. And if you see my logo that I have a fedora, because I wear a fedora hat, that's kind of like my little identification thing. So, in life, these are things that I enjoy doing. I'm passionate about music, and I'm passionate about helping people. Now, there were times when we had a food bank account, and we were doing that for, I say we, it was another organization that I was with, but, I will not name them, but, the food bank account, they closed it down, and this is shortly before the government shutdown, which just made things even worse, and that's the part that really got under my skin. It's like I was going to churches, homeless encampments. I was going out taking food to a farmer's market and giving it to people who need it. These are indigenous people who were, these people are just poor. I don't want to say indigenous now, but these people needed food. And so I was out, I'm there. They were looking forward to it. It got cut. I really, that part there right there was like disappointing to me. But I'll bring that program over here because I have a cool music creation program that's funded, or is funded, not funded, but started at Rancho Los Amigos National Rehabilitation Center in Downey, California, a place where I've worked at for the last 38 years. And we're going to make everything go and happen. And in my future plans, I have concerts that I'm going to do for fundraising for exactly what I'm talking about, these kind of things. I'll have concerts. We'll have food drives. We'll have, toy drives. A lot of the things that people are doing now today, but we're going to continue to grow that. And we'll have, if you're a veteran or not, if you're disabled, we have some programs that would start out with, like we have a horse program that is horse therapy. We've taken our ladies, and the ladies just absolutely love it. And so, again, I just want to make sure you guys know that, hey, you know what? This is a big deal. This is not your regular show. This is the Charles Whitehead hosted, along with Elizabeth Yao. And then we have Martha Varela, but I don't think Martha's joining us today. But we are here to bring you information. Elizabeth has a lot of information. And if you were with us the last segment, and she brought on things that I was surprised and I had to comment on, and that's what we do. And ultimately, if you guys want to, we're going to have it so you can start calling in and commenting or whatever. But we're just getting this platform set straight. And like I say, once Elizabeth gets in, we'll talk about a little bit about Veterans Day. And from that point, we'll make it happen. So I want to give a big shout out to Joe, the engineer. He's the one that's over there pulling. He's the wizard. See, he's the guy you don't see. He's pulling all the strings, making these things work. And of course, KCAA Radio, that's the station that leaves no listeners behind. We are collectively about 5 million listeners, not at all one time, but what we do is we record the show. And I'm not in studio today, but generally when you're in the studio, they record the story, they the show, they videotape it, and then they put it on all the major platforms. So it's not just reaching the audience that we're hearing here. You're reaching the audience that are all abroad, all social media, everywhere. And that's a great goal, and that's what we want to intend to do, to get our message out to anybody. I mean, anybody who's, if you're interested in coming on our show, please feel free to send me an email. That's rollinman1@aol.com. That's ROLLINMAN1@AOL.com. My name is Charles Whitehead, and I look forward to talking to you. I've had musicians on. I teach a songwriting class to people, and I've had a show what I do with them. Of course, I had a show with my band per se, and that's Herman Hogan and Ray Law. These guys are, we're just homegrown. We don't do covers. We do all originals. Therefore, the whole thing about writing and composing, producing, everything, it's all right in our hands, and we enjoy what we do. And what we're gonna do, I'm gonna take a quick short break, and then we're gonna come back, and hopefully by then Elizabeth will be with us, and we'll go from there.
Every day she was all alone. A challenge she wanted to take. It was a challenge. It was a challenge. But Angela wasn't afraid. Roll to Hawaii, roll to Hawaii, roll to Hawaii. Go ahead, girl. Angela, roll to Hawaii, roll to Hawaii. Do your thing. So she started on her way till she proceeded and started her journey from Marina Del Rey. Her plan was to end her journey to Hawaii on a summer day. About halfway there, unexpectedly, something went terribly wrong. Sadly, she was floating next to a boat in the water alone. She had the heart, she had the drive, determined and tough. When all is said and done, she died doing what she truly loved. Although she didn't make it, give her props because she chose to take it. Be strong, have no fear was her attitude. The message that comes from this: make up your mind and go for it. Move on. When there's a will, you will find a way. Find a way. Find a way. The challenge was accepted, so she headed from the clubs. Angela Matson would roll her boat. She knew she had the will, she knew she had the way. She packed a boat, rolled like to roll every day. She was a strong woman, she knew she had it in her. When it came to rowing, she was always a winner. The fact she didn't make it doesn't mean a thing at all. She planned it, she tried it, I celebrate her call. It was a challenge. A challenge she wanted to take. It was a challenge. It was a challenge. But Angela wasn't afraid. Challenge accepted. It was a challenge. A challenge she wanted to take. It was a challenge. It was a challenge. But Angela wasn't afraid. Challenge accepted. It was a challenge. A challenge she wanted to take. It was a challenge. It was a challenge. Angela wasn't afraid.
Veteran Hour, and we are back here with another segment of the Cool Veteran Hour, and I believe we do have our co-host, Miss Elizabeth Yao, on the line. Are you there, Elizabeth?
I am. Good afternoon. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, I should say, to all our listeners, depending on where you happen to be. Thank you so much for allowing me to be with you today, Charles.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You know, you're the one with all the information. You know, I'm just, you know, we like to have a little humor out here. It's like, you know, okay, 2 weeks ago I was at the hospital, and you know, it was like right when it's showtime, all of a sudden these docs want to come in and do this, and I said, okay, I'm doing. So I had them kind of like whispering when they were talking. I was like, you know, it's like this dude's over here running his show from the hospital room, you know. So now I'm at home, and I feel great. You know, I'm not there's no life there's threatening anything. It's just that I'm taking care of these things, and I'm supposed to have a nurse come over to here just to check something, and she's going to come at 2. And I said, oh, my God, can she come later? Well, she just called and said that she's going to be about 2:55, 2:50. I said, okay, this works out. So anyway, great to have you on, Liz. You know, I feel good, and I'm glad that you're on. What you been up to? First of all, let's give the folks a little bit about your background.
Well, my name is Elizabeth Yo, and I am also a veteran, United States Navy, and a certified business coach, trainer, speaker with the John Maxwell team. I also host a faith and leadership club on the Clubhouse platform, and also host of the Business Corner segment here on the Cool Veteran Hour. So this segment, I'm so happy to be a part of this KCAA family. We're all about supporting our veteran and civilian business owners, aspiring business owners, and business professionals. So we will dive into all things leadership, and then each session I'll take you on a journey into wonderful topics, provide information, resources, also highlight events and also opportunities. So you'll get to hear from some of the movers and shakers in our local business communities, as well as some of our sponsors as we move forward toward the end of the year and into our new year to come. So thank you so much. And I do encourage all of our listeners to join in the conversation anytime during the show and let us know your questions or your thoughts. And you can dial 909-383-1000. We'd love to hear from you. And, thank you so much, Charles. This is such an awesome opportunity.
It is. It's my pleasure, and you're always welcome. And before you came in, the way I started off the show, I was like, okay, Veterans Day just passed, and I said I would talk more about that once you got on. My father was a veteran. He was in the Vietnam War in 1962 or whatever, 73 or whatever it was. He was a veteran. My brother's a veteran. He was in the Gulf War, Afghanistan. He's been in all kinds of these things. I got a lot of family members who are military. And my mother, 3 years ago on Veterans Day, she passed on Veterans Day. And so on Veterans Day, I celebrate my father, my brother, and my mother, because she used to call all of the veterans in the family to thank them for their service. I don't care what part of the world they were living in, especially with cell phones and things like that. She doesn't do social media, but she would call my cousins, my uncles, my nephews, whoever was in there, anybody. And so I wanted to just kind of bring that up and say, hey, let's give thanks to the veterans. Of course, our show was 2 weeks before, so we want to give thanks to everyone for their service and, to make what we have today possible. And I also like to let you know that the song that you just finished hearing was Angela Matson, who was a veteran. And if you haven't Googled her story, Google it. It's A Row of Life. That's like rowing a boat. She tried her attempt to row to Hawaii. So I was a friend of hers. I knew her. I played wheelchair basketball with her, and I just knew her over the years. And so she was on her way to Hawaii, and unfortunately she didn't make it, but I was following her, and I was hurt when I heard that she had passed, because I was following her through the news. And so anyway, I wrote a song about her, and that's called Challenge Accepted, the Angela Matson story. So now let's get back into, go ahead, Lizzie, you go ahead and jump in and either comment or let's start, because I know you got a lot of hot topics to talk about today.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing about your dad. My dad was also an Army veteran. He was stationed in Korea in the 60s. So, we're a military strong family as well. And the journey I started us on during the last show is through the book entitled Your Next 5 Moves, Master the Art of Business Strategy by Patrick Bet-David. And if you're not familiar with Patrick, he, too, is an Army veteran, 101st Airborne Division. He's also the creator of Valuetainment, which is a YouTube channel for entrepreneurs. He's the founder of PHP, Financial Services Agency. And so just want to say happy Veterans Day to this gentleman as well, if he's listening. Big shout-out to all our vets, and 2 big birthdays, the Marines and the Navy, this year as well. So happy to serve alongside in service and out of service with you, Charles. And, sometimes I think I also mentioned during our last show that my husband had passed just a couple of months ago. And, sometimes when things seem uncertain, really during life events especially, right, or seem chaotic or even dismal, right, it's really during times like these that we can either start to fear or get angry about what is happening around us, or we can start to take a really long, hard, and deep look at our lives, right? Especially as leaders. And, you don't need to be a corporate giant or an executive, or you don't need to work at all. We are leaders naturally, right? We have to lead ourselves every single day, right? We have to get up. We have to, get ourselves together. We have to take care of our business. So in all in all, we're all leaders, right, in some way or shape or form. But, unfortunately, many people do not think more than one or two moves ahead. And many times, many are driven by emotion or fear and sometimes even ego, right? But the reality is that those people often burn out quickly. And this is what we touched on during our last show. So what then is an effective strategy when our emotions may be running high, or maybe we become overwhelmed with fear? What if our ego really is in the way? But the answer is always we have to grow, right? And so in order to become better human beings, if we want to advance our careers, reach our financial goals, we have to grow. We have to think ahead. We have to plan and execute. And a lot of people think ahead, and a lot of people do make plans, but a lot of people do not execute. And I'm sure we can all testify to us all being in that point in time or at some point in time in our lives. So we don't want to become a jack of all trades and master of none. So this real great journey here is really pointing out that we have to master at least a few things along the way. So as leaders, challenges, troubles, life events, they do come up, and we touched on how that can be a great time to gain clarity, to gain strategy, to develop growth tactics, skills, and even insight. And so in this wonderful resource, Patrick shares 5 moves leaders should master. And we began with the first move during our last show, which is to master knowing yourself, right? Who do you really want to be? And especially as things happen in our lives, maybe we start out in our younger years wanting to be one thing, having grandiose ideas of something, one thing or another. And then as we grow, as life starts to happen, right, as we start to mature, we might decide, maybe that's not who I want to be after all. And nothing really matters unless we really know ourselves, really know what makes us tick, really, have our boundaries in place. And far too often, consultants and now all of the influencers, I should say, of the day, assume that everyone wants the same thing as them. But the purpose of this very first move is to really identify what matters to you the most so that you can strategize. What are some non-negotiables in our life, right? What family, time, health, what is really best suited for us? Our personality, our abilities, our skills, right? Who can we connect with or look to or research that is doing what we want to do, right? That is actually the person we hope to become like. So today we're going to continue with that move. Number 1, master knowing yourself. And the next thing to think about is to study the most important product, which is you, ourselves, right? Benjamin Franklin actually said this: there are 3 things extremely hard: steel, a diamond, and to know one's self. Because we read books about other people all the time, right? We focus on how to read and persuade people, how to influence them, and that's really, really valuable. Studying others does give us knowledge, but studying ourselves ultimately leads to an ultimate amount of freedom, right? Because that helps us reach self-acceptance, liberating us really from self-judgment. So we have to be really thinking about fighting for things that are greater than ourselves, because when we fight for a cause or a dream or something greater than ourselves, we actually find enthusiasm, passion, and motivation. So I really love this first move, and a few points along the way to tie it up for us is that we really need to think about aligning our career or what we want to do, our jobs, right, with our true selves. Because when we're honest about who we are, we can learn to stop wanting everything, right? We have to be careful of envy, especially, in this day and age. If we can't look at someone who has things that we don't have and not want them, but accept where we are, accept what we have, then we're in a good place, right? We have to be honest enough to know who we are and what we're willing to do, right, to earn what we see or want, and to really live out the life that God desires of us, right? That's real maturity.
Absolutely.
So if someone is winning at a higher level than we are, we either need to lower our expectations to match our work ethic or increase our work ethic to exceed our expectations. Work being the key word. So what it boils down to is just alignment. What do you think, Charles?
Oh, no, absolutely. You can't compare your life to someone else's because you don't know the ups and downs or the changes and the things that have happened through their life. Like I know my life. I know I've been through. And, I can honestly say, in the last show, well, I can say it now. It used to be, I was saying I've been in 9 different hospitals. Now it's 10. And you know what? I'm still here. And people look at me and they say, look at this guy. He's all over the place, energetic. I said, you know what? I said, I'm blessed to be here, first of all. And so without that, then nothing else matters. And so I don't go around and compare myself to what this person has, that person, and like you were saying. It's like, I know who I am. I identify who I am first. And then it goes to the, everybody likes to have things, but, not everyone's going to get things, and then not everyone's going to get what they want anyway. Nobody. That's just the way it is. So you have to be able to adjust in life, adjust who you are, find yourself, know what you need to do, and make your own goals. Don't base it on someone else's goals. You couldn't have said that any more straightforward, Elizabeth. So, yeah, I agree with you 100%.
And, I think people never take into consideration, I think social media has really tainted us as well. Don't you think, Charles? Because people don't think about what it takes to maintain all of these things, this lifestyle, this status, this levels. It's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of management. It's a lot of, sleepless nights. People think, oh, you're going to have your own business. You just do whatever you want. But you're working even more. So, people really don't take the time to, like I said, research, right? Is that really who I want to be? Do I want to be this person that has so many things and seemingly, all the fancy things in the world, but I'm not looking at how much is that going to manage? How much time is that going to take out of my life? What is that going to do to the structure of my true freedom that I'm looking for? So, us living out here in California, but anywhere around the world, you see that so blatantly clear. It looks like lights and glamour, but on the back end, it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of stress.
There is. And, on top of that, like you say, people like to portray themselves. Some people like to portray themselves as something that they aren't. This is the image that they want to put out to the public, but it doesn't. And when we go to break, Joe, the cue up contradiction, because that talks about you say one thing, but you're doing something else. But you're absolutely right on that, Elizabeth. It's people tend to. And I'll say this: I saw one of those crime things about a young man who was, I forget what city it was, but he was in the city. He had a Bentley. He had people believing he had all of this stuff. But he was like doing what do you call it, embezzling. And so he was a big fraud. So when the investigators went to go and check his place, he didn't have any furniture. He didn't have any food. He was just feeding this idea of getting people to believe that he was some mogul, and he was young. And, of course, he ended up going to jail for whatever he did. But, these kind of things, there are a lot of contradictions in life. And so we're going to take a break real quick, and then when we come back, we're going to finish off the show. Hit that contradiction. Listen to the words on this. This is by Per Se. Thank you.
Shoot-a-dip-dee-dip, shoot-a-dip-bop-bing-bong, shoot-a-dip-dee-dip, shoot-a-dip-bop-bing-bong, shoot-a-dip-dee-dip, shoot-a-dip-bop-bing-bong, shoot-a-dip-dee-dip, oh-de-oh-de-oh-bop. Contradiction is the name of the game. Well, contradiction ought to be a shame. Contradiction all of the time. Contradiction blowing my mind. Say it again. Contradiction is the name of the game. Well, now contradiction ought
ashamed. Good God, contradiction everywhere you turn. Well, now contradiction, will we ever learn? Listen. You say you want peace, but you start a war. And you want to be free, but you pass a new law. Everybody's equal, but you segregator. Every man is your brother, but your neighbor you hate. Let's do it again now. Contradiction is the name of the game. Well, now contradiction, you ought to be ashamed. Contradiction all of the time. Good God, contradiction blowing my mind.
You wanna be healthy, but you eat junk food. Pop pills, drink alcohol, and break all the rules. You wanna be wise and develop your mind, but you're living off gossip
All of the time. Hey, it's contradiction is the name of the game. Contradiction, you ought to be ashamed. Well, now contradiction everywhere you turn. Good God, contradiction, will we ever learn? Well, now you ought to be what you are, instead of trying to be something that you ain't. Everybody ought to show their own true colors, instead of trying to be a saint, because you ain't. Should leave,
All right, we're back. We're back here with the Cool Veteran Hour. Myself, Charles Whitehead, and Elizabeth Yao. And so, Elizabeth, go ahead and jump on the subject that you were talking about, and when we'll finish the day out, we won't go to another break. We'll just continue talking on.
Charles, that song was right on time. When did you make that?
Like 20 years ago, 15. Actually, Herman Hogan, who wrote he wrote the song, and I recorded it, and we had someone else to master it. He wrote the song probably 30 years ago, but we released it in 2012, I believe it was. And so, you can find that song on YouTube. Just look us up, Per Se, the band. That's PER, one word, SE, Per Se, two words, Per Se, the band at YouTube. We're on YouTube. We got music out there. We got a whole lot more music that's going to be coming down the pipe now, because I've started off recording without knowing what I was doing, and I have a mentor who is like his first job engineering, his name is Magic Marino, was with Aretha Franklin way back when. Well, this guy is big time in the music and movie industry. He's a good guy. He's my main mentor. But yeah, that was a long time ago. But the contradiction is, tells you there. It's one of those opposites, almost like oxymoron, but in its own way.
Yeah, it's awesome, and you're a great example of really learning and discovering, who you want to be, how you want to serve, what you want to do. And, Patrick mentions here that it really boils down to alignment, right? It's really important to, honestly, for us, right, for, believers to be in alignment with God, right, first, and see if our vision is in alignment with His in terms of who we are, who we want to be. Our choices, right, must align with our vision. Our effort must align with the size of our vision, right? Our behavior even must align with our values and principles. So, inquiry really leads to acceptance, which leads to power. There's really, when we think about it, only one person that we have to spend every second of our lives with, and that's ourselves. So it's really important to ask questions, really dig deep, and especially as, the tides change, right? Seasons change in our lives. different things come about, and we growing up, and so we have to reassess every now and then. And then, there are 4 areas that actually do drive us when you think about it. So what's suggested is the area of advancement. So a person in this area is looking for that next promotion or completing a task or meeting a deadline, reaching a goal. And then this was interesting, madness. This is an area that is mentioned here, madness, meaning, does it drive you? Does opposition drive you? Does competition drive you? Does control drive you? Power, fame, proving
Madness?
others wrong, the need to avoid embarrassment. Aren't these interesting?
You said madness?
Yes, madness. So this is one of 4 areas that talks about the drivers for people. And sometimes people are driven by control, right? Some people are driven by proving others wrong,
That's true. You're absolutely right about that.
Then there's individuality.
Hmm.
I think we see this a lot, like lifestyle, getting recognition, or having security, being secure. And then the last one was purpose. So helping others, change, impact. So based on these 4 categories, Charles, think about what really drives you. I think I could see myself in all 4 of them at some point along the journey of life for me, right? Maybe I was driven by, getting a promotion or reaching a goal when I first started out in the working world, right? And then I did get into the madness stage. I think about kind of that teen stage, that young adult stage, that rebellious stage where, I have to, prove others wrong. I have to be the best. I have to,
Right.
I have to be in control of my life, right? We talked about that yesterday.
That's true. Yeah, for me, it's I'm just self-driven, and I like to feed off of I do a lot of observing, and the madness part. When I was younger, I did like most young people do, and when I say younger, in their late teens and 20s, you think you know everything, you don't. So self-motivation is what I have, because for me, being as many car accidents and having as many hospital episodes and things like that, it's like I'm just worried about, I want to do this. And, when people see me doing what I'm doing, but I'm driven, I'm very self-driven, because I just love to do things. I'm passionate about anything that I work with. I'm passionate about music and helping people. So the madness part, I don't know if that. And then tell me the other 2, the first 2, again.
So we have advancement, madness, individuality, and purpose.
I would. I guess the reality is we all have a little bit of all of those.
Each one, right?
No matter what, it may be as minuscule as whatever, but there's a part of you, and that would say, well, okay, this didn't happen for me, so you get a little angry and say, well, okay, well then I just have to go do something else to make it happen. So that equals, the madness doesn't have to be extreme madness. So when you first said it, I'm like, madness, it's like, watch out. But no, you're correct. There's a little bit of that in everybody. Anyone who really wants to achieve something, you have to have just a touch of each one of those points in you, because it's not going to happen just not sitting around or having pity parties or go and try to destroy someone else's thing. Because there are people who are out there that way as well. They see someone who's successful, and they put in the work and they put in the time, and they will try to go on and have them have their whole whatever they're working on. They'll help try to crash it for them, or spoil it for them, just out of envy and jealousy, and and it's too bad. But in business, it's the same way. Businesses are they get a little struggle, and then whoop, becomes a bigger company, scoop them up, buy them out, and that business is gone. So in life, you still have to you have to start with you, and if you set a foundation and maintain that, you'll go places. Not to say that you'll be as rich as the person that you think you want to be or whatever, but sometimes richness doesn't matter. Money is what drives my happiness. I don't want to be a half a billionaire. I got all kinds of money, but yet, where's the happiness at? You can't buy it. You get that for free if that's what you decide to do. So yes, okay, go ahead.
I totally agree. And, that should be a driving force, really, when we think about these different categories or these different drivers that might be driving us. We can think about that and think about what really drives us, and then think about developing a desire to grow, right? And try to break it down in levels, maybe just 4. So level 1, we're usually all in this at some point. Think about a pyramid starting at the bottom. Level 1 is survival. You start out, and sometimes it's a continuation, just working to pay bills, right? Some people stop at this level, right? Level 2 is status. People want nice things. We constantly want to level up as best we can. And so, some people end up stopping right there. And then there's level 3, where that's freedom. And we hear a lot of people talk about time freedom, right? Wanting to break free, make enough money to do the things that we want to do, attain the things we want to obtain. And then we start having a feeling of contentment. But now we have the luxury at this level to kind of focus on, what brings really true fulfillment. We worked, right? We've already leveled up, and now what? So that's when it comes to the purpose, right? Making an impact. This is where we really have to define what is our purpose. What's our God-given purpose now? How do we want to make an impact on the lives of others? So very few people make it to the purpose level, actually. And why? Sometimes it's fear, right? Sometimes people, unfortunately, have to spend their lives maybe stuck in survival mode without any time to really even think about their future or what they would want to be or become or do. Some people have too many distractions. So in this day and age, we have so many distractions, right? And sometimes that can eat up a lot of our time. But if we want to make a big impact, we really do have to be willing to sit down and ask ourselves some important questions about life, right? So I really challenge everyone listening, no matter what level you are at right now, to really get clear on your God-given purpose. As I mentioned in the beginning, due to a loss in our family, it's a great time to kind of reassess and see what is my purpose now, right? How things shift when there's a loss or a gain in your family or in your business or whatnot. So you can start with what's called a personal identity audit. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but this is just a series of questions that actually lead to self-discovery. So if you'd like a copy, I would be happy to send you one. All you need to do is just send me an email with the subject line audit to Miss, as in MS, as in Miss, Lizzie, CSR, that is C as in cat, S as in Sam, R as in Robert, at gmail.com. Again, Miss Lizzie, CSR, at gmail.com. And please take your time with the audit. Really think deeply about each question and answer honestly. If you're really looking for more guidance or support or resources, you can also email me at that same address with KCAA in the subject line and let me know what it is you might be looking for, and I can see if I can help. So it's been my pleasure to share, learn, and grow with you today, and I look forward to our next gathering here on the Business Corner. So, Charles,
Lizzie,
I thank you as well.
Before, can you spell out that Lizzie so people don't think it's, some people may think it's SS, just to be sure?
Yes, absolutely. So we'll do it military style. So it's M as in Mary, S as in Sam, L as in Larry, I as in India, Z as in zebra, Z as in zebra, Y as in yellow, C as in cat, S as in Sam, R as in Robert, at gmail.com. That is Miss Lizzie, CSR at gmail.com.
That's good, because I couldn't tell you all of the call letters anymore right now. I know one of them is Charlie, so that's good enough for me right there. That's a good start. So Yeah, so this is good. I mean, these are things that resources that people can absolutely use. Like you say, give her an email. You can send me an email. Again, that's rollingman1@aol.com. That's ROLLINMAN, excuse me, the number 1@aol.com. Yeah, I'm one of them old school people. I have an old AOL email, and I have a original 213 phone number. So I got grandfathered in or dinosaured in or whatever, but they still work for me, so I'm using them. Although I do use other Gmails and stuff like this, but hey, this is who I am. This is my main line right here. Like, if you need to get in touch with me, feel free to call. And so what have how much more info do you? Because you're loaded with info. I know Elizabeth could do this show by herself. I can just sit back and be a listener. I had one of my friends tell me, he said, "Yeah, I'm a call in. I'm a prank call and start asking you questions." I said, "Go ahead." I should do that to you one day, Liz. Like, hey, you just said about the business. When can I get started? Today, tomorrow? I'm calling you. I'm kidding, but it's like, Elizabeth has a lot of information, and this much I do know about her. She's very informative and on things like, especially for the veterans. And it's great that we both have the same goal of helping veterans and making sure that they're all being helped. Hold on. Unfortunately, I think I talked to you guys about my nurse coming here. Because I'm just letting you know what's happening with my health. I'm taking daily antibiotics just for a couple of weeks or more, but I feel great. So, Elizabeth, if you don't mind, go ahead and talk on something else, because I think we have like 8 minutes. Just give me 1 minute to get this person secure, and I'll be right back.
Oh, sure thing. And really, Charles, what an inspiration you are to just, continue pushing forward through sickness and in health. So we really appreciate Charles. We appreciate KCAA. They truly do not leave any listener behind. I don't know if any of you have had an opportunity to visit the KCAA website, but they have several shows, all different genres, all different topics. I highly encourage everyone to take a look, and you can find current shows, past shows, same with our show here. And we just want to say once again, thank you to all our veterans who have served, past, present, and future. We really want to honor our vets and give a big shout out and high five to those who have really taken the time to sacrifice and, really be patriots for our country, the United States of America. So, I know with so many things going on in the world, challenges, turmoil, wars, rumors of wars, we can still, rejoice in the fact that we have the freedoms that we do here in the U.S., and freedom is real, and it's not free. So we really thank those who support us, such as KCAA, once again, really giving veterans a space and to express our ideas, our views, and share and support those who may be listening to us all over the world. And so we encourage you, again, to take a look at KCAA. And I'll just give a shout-out because we are looking for, if you are in the market to sponsor and you'd like to share about your organization, please do give us an email or a call, as Charles mentioned, because we would love to give an opportunity to businesses and organizations in the communities surrounding it and even outside our community here in the California vicinity that are out here doing great things. We want to give a space and a voice and learn, because we never know what kind of services, support, or resources people might be in need of day by day. So if you are a company or organization or individual who would love to partner with us and support not only this show but this station to get the word out about what you do, please do reach out to us. It would be fantastic We're always looking for partnerships, always looking for support, and always looking for a way we can help even more people spread that word all over the demographics that we can reach. So we encourage you, again, to reach out to us and, again, email or give us a call, and we can get a message to Charles and or myself and, get the word out. So really looking forward to our next session. As I mentioned, Patrick Bet-David is the author that we are featuring on the Business Corner, a fellow veteran, so definitely always want to support our community. And he's given us some great insight and some great tips on, not just for business, but just personally. It all starts with you, right? It all starts with ourselves. So great tips, great insights, great instructionals on how to be your best self, right? It starts there, and then everything else shines as a result. So happy to always get a chance to spend time. Happy to be a part of this KCAA family as well. And I really appreciate the warm welcome. And as I have come in to join Charles and be able to share what I know, what I do, in hopes that it'll help make your lives and your communities better as well. So, once again, we meet, or I should say we are on air twice a month, every other Saturday. So you'll catch us in December, almost Christmas. Hard to believe the year has gone by this fast, amazing. But it's been a good one, always a good one to make it through one. So that's how I look at it. No matter if it was, people say it was a great year, it was a terrible year, it was a challenging year, we all made it through. So praise God for that. And just look forward to the next one and all that is to come, right? Always positive about what is on the horizon. So I do encourage you all, if you have not yet taken a look at Patrick Bet-David, do follow him. He is all over social media. He's featured on some of the news outlets and interviews and whatnot, but great veteran, great story. Honestly, his testimonial is amazing. His family came in. Oh, you back? Hey there. I was just sharing about our fellow veteran,
I'm
Patrick
back,
Bet-David, and thanking you.
Okay, go ahead. Elizabeth, I'm going to have to leave you guys now, but I'll see you in 2 weeks. You can go ahead and close the show out. You know the credits. Thanks, Joe. KTAA, the station that leaves no one behind. We'll be back with the Cool Veteran Hour. Sorry, I have to bail out on you guys like this, but I have people knocking at my door.
We appreciate you, Charles. Thank you, Joe. And thank you to all our listeners. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
A journey of 1,000 words begins here. KCAA.